Christmas break here tonight.
6 players in double figures. Darion Reed, a career high in points and rebounds. You want to talk scoring? Well, Mississippi Valley State has gotten some good nights from Michael James. This is the 5th time they've played against a power conference opponent. Michael James had 32 against Texas A&M this year. What makes him so explosive?
Well, obviously a good player that can score. He's talented because he has a good mix. He can knock down the three. He can get to the paint, gets to the line. So there's good balance in his offensive game. You know, it's interesting. In those 4 power conference teams that they have played, he's played his best. He's averaged 23 points in those 4 outings. Oklahoma's certainly very aware of that here tonight.
Sooners get the first look. Xavier Brown at the controls. Darion Reed now. A lot of zone tonight expected from Mississippi Valley State.
Yeah, and they've shown more of it against those more powerful teams like an A&M and Kansas State.
Tay Davis dribbled it off his foot. Delta Devils counter the other way with DeKeldrick Holmes. Double transfer. Spent time at Dallas College Eastfield last season. Also Eastfield Community College and Texas Wesleyan. Shot clock at 15 as Michael James pulls the trigger. Well, we talked about him a moment ago. He is right on cue with his first triple of the night.
Yeah, 35% three-point shooter James is, but he's really struggled the last 2. Just 1 of 12 combined. Obviously, that is a great sign if you're Mississippi Valley State.
Mississippi Valley State coach George Ivory went deep into the junior college transfer portal. And he is one of 6 guys in the regular rotation who came from a junior college. Late shot clock here for Brown. Darion Reed lines up a 3. Can't tie the game. Rebound into the hands of James.
Now, sometimes offensively, Chad, it's difficult on that end of the floor to go against zone. Tough to get into a rhythm, but as the game settles in, I think you'll see Oklahoma get good looks.
McGee pokes that ball away from behind on Musa Zane, and here come the Sooners countering. Oklahoma, the same starting 5 for every game this season. One of 2 teams in the SEC to utilize that. All these guys coming out of the transfer portal, impact transfers. Porter Moser's got a bunch of them, including that guy, Nigel Pack. He is 3rd amongst active career scorers in the country.
And he's consistently good. Averages 17 points a game. Been in double figures 11 of Oklahoma's 12 contests.
Ooh, backdoor cut, and Lamont Sams pounds one home to give Mississippi Valley State the lead back.
Yes, Sams has made a nice transition to the Division I level. Very good NAIA player a year ago.
Xavier Brown rebounds his own miss. Sooners 15 to shoot here. And Oklahoma just looking over that zone. Tay Davis with the screen for Pack. 3 to shoot. Brown, 1 on the shot clock, buried it. Perfect timing.
Now, fortunate there, Mississippi Valley State going for the steal, and they don't get it. And Oklahoma out front, you really got to move it early in the half court against the zone. Side to side, get them to shift so you can have opportunities later in that offensive possession.
This is Zane. He knocks down McGee, and what's the call? Kind of had differing opinions there for a moment, but Owen Short says it's an offensive foul. We go the other way.
Now, here's that back door right there. There's Sams. Good cut right there. See Coach George Ivory, Mississippi Valley State legend himself as a player.
Yeah, all-time leading scorer and assist maker. And last season, he was pulling double duty. He was also the athletic director a year ago, proudly representing his alma mater, but they hired Alicia Shields-Gadsden as AD in August, and it's full-time basketball coaching, back to what George Ivory loves to do.
And obviously, you know, the record is not great, but they're out playing tough competition. The team has a chance to be quite a bit better than it was a year ago. Coach Ivory going to the portal, really concentrating on building his roster with depth and also length and size more than they had a year ago.
That foul is on Mo McGee. He has avoided foul trouble in recent games. He's fouled out 1 time, but critical for the Sooners, especially into SEC play, that Mo McGee stay out of foul trouble. It's our first substitution of the night. Very valuable transfer, Jadon Jones in for his 9th game of the year.
Yeah, and Chad, I think he made an immediate impact. I think particularly on the defensive end, he's helped Oklahoma 2 years ago, the Big West Defensive Player of the Year. And then the other side of it is the ability to knock down threes.
Like that right there. Jadon Jones in and out on that three. And rebound pinballs right into the lap of Patrick Punch.
And I think the term, Chad, sometimes is thrown out a little too loosely, is 3 and D, but Jones is definitely that. And there's guys that defend and shoot threes, but they don't necessarily make them. Jones made 77 2 years ago at Long Beach State.
And there are guys who try to guard, but don't necessarily guard. Jones guards people. Nice leaner there by Zane, and a 7-4 start for the Delta Devils.
Yeah, and they've done a really good job in their ball movement in extending their offense down the perimeter. That essentially was a back door right there. Second time they've handled Oklahoma's pressure and got something inside that arc.
This is Reed in there, that high post, trying to attack. He slipped down and just lost it out of bounds. Sooners turned it over for the third time early. Turnovers haven't been much of an issue for the Sooners recently. Mississippi Valley State, well, helps to get good looks when you're on the road, as they are for the 5th time against a power conference team this season.
Absolutely not, but I think Jadon Jones has helped that. We've mentioned that, Chad. They held Wake Forest to 68 points on the road. You go back about 5 games ago. Against Oklahoma State, they turned them into a jump shooting team. And then something that doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's improvement. They don't turn teams over a lot, or at least haven't this year. But for the last 5 games for Oklahoma defensively, they forced 12 turnovers or more. And they are so good at ball security on the offensive end. If they can turn teams over 12, 13 times a game, they're going to be heavy favorite in every contest to win the turnover margin battle. And as you know, in SEC play, that is one of the key statistics in winning, particularly on the road.
Nice pack, misfiring there, and a foul underneath on the rebound. Oklahoma's turnover numbers have been pretty amazing. They had a recent stretch.
It's 6'11", 230.
He comes out and hedges right there and helps force that held ball.
And it's such an interesting story to get him here, but as you see his profile, Chad, but anytime you can add a big body, and don't expect him to be all SEC first team. Experienced, he's going to be able to give them some minutes off the bench. You just kind of want to watch him tonight and watch his defense and his rebounding. What kind of motor does he have?
And he gives Oklahoma needed depth at the post position. Mo McGee is out there, but Kai Rogers, the freshman, is not available tonight. He's battling an ankle injury. Walatak is also into the Sooner lineup. Alatanzev, seen his first time, as is Jeff Longquo. You see him right here. Yeah, and it almost helps him be able to come and play tonight, Chad, because Mississippi Valley State plays zone. Zone offense, particularly for bigs, there's going to be 2 things as a priority offensively, priority that Porter Moser wants out of him. So this is a perfect opportunity to at least throw him out there, knock some rust off, get some of those nerves out of him, and hey, let's see what happens. So he was playing in the highest level Russian professional team, and it was announced in early October that he was eligible to come play college basketball in the United States. And Porter Moser and his staff just kind of tracked the course of things, reached out, and here he is. And there's Jeff Longquo with the foul line jumper to get the Sooners back within 1. It was interesting, Longquo today, when we talked to Porter Moser about him. Against Stetson, he had 3 points and 2 rebounds. Coach Moser said it was the best game he's played so far this season. And you and I understood what he was talking about. And somebody may go, well, what do you mean? He graded out so well. Made every correct decision at both ends of the floor. Was solid. And as Coach Moser put it, as you see those two having a conversation right there, he said, Jeff kept things simple. Simple plays defensively, simple offensively, and he's got such a big, tough frame. He's physical, his SEC type body. So that's good. That's one of the reasons in smaller pieces to why I think Oklahoma has really improved over the last couple of weeks. And this is the first time for a lot of these guys, in particular bench players, at this level, for guys like Jeff Longquo. He's a junior college transfer, was a college football player as well. Koala Talk's really going through it for the first time. And that's another thing that Elatasov can help bring in is a little bit of experience, a guy who's played in the professional ranks over in Russia as well. 8-6, Delta Devils on top. Now they come with a little three-quarter court pressure. Attack, quick release, and that's down.
And that's the danger right there when you pick up full. I kind of liked the Delta Devils just sitting back in that zone. Oklahoma's not been able to get in much rhythm in the half court. But right there, they get him in the corner. Attack can really shoot it. He's a catch-and-shoot type of player, and that's what he does best.
Patrick Punch driven off the three-point line. Shot clock is under 10. Xavier Brown had the steal. Shot clock hasn't reset. James goes to work and misses. Got his own miss. Tried a quick pass inside. Koalatak steals it. Hesitation. Wonkwo. Brown off the kick out three. Rebounded inside by Patrick Punch. Patrick Punch is a guy that Mississippi Valley State's happy to have back. He tore his ACL right before school started last season, missed the entire year, and tonight he starts for the 13th time in 14 games. And Brown picked the pocket from behind. He transitions the other way. Thought that might be a goaltend, but it won't matter. Koalatak is there to follow up the miss.
Well, Brown doesn't get that one to go, Chad, but we talked about his health. I mean, he's had that ankle issue again. Alcorn State game was slowed by it, continued to play, but was not himself. You can see right there, he's just moving better.
Oklahoma, three-point lead as they've started to assert themselves. And as I say that, a dunk by Tyrone Irogama, who slid down the left side of the paint. He's from London.
Irogama got his first start at West Virginia up in Morgantown a week ago. They really liked what he did in his 17 minutes. 5 rebounds in that stretch, and that's what you want your bigs to do. Have energy and be active at both ends of the floor.
Sooners a 1-point lead, but the Delta Devils hanging in it early here at the Lloyd Noble Center.
Well, it's been difficult, Chad, for Oklahoma to get in some offensive rhythm, but a double team invites numbers. If you get past that, Attack knocks down the three, a 38% three-point shooter, but the Delta Devils continue to get to the paint and get shots at the rim. They're here within one.
And since then, he's averaging 20 points and only 1 turnover per game in his last 3 games. Super efficient that he has been for Porter Moser's team.
And he's that great combination of the ability to facilitate, set up teammates, manage the game out front, but also score.
Backdoor lob to Tae Davis.
What great offensive play against that zone coming out of the timeout.
The out of timeout plays. Easy leaner that time for Chance Sutton. Sooners didn't rotate back to get him, and he has his first field goal. Yeah,
Mississippi Valley State has been pretty comfortable offensively. Here to start this game, both in the half court and then right there against a little bit of full court pressure from Oklahoma.
Reed hits the flashing Davis. This is Wonkwo with a 3. Davis springs for the rebound and gets fouled. I think they're going to get Patrick Punch for his first foul.
Now here's an opening possession, Chad, coming out of the timeout. Right here, you can see Davis coming in from that right side, and a guy that's athletic and long like that, just got to throw it up somewhere near the rim. You got a little rub on that low defender by Xavier Brown, freeing Davis up.
So Tae Davis, the double transfer from Seton Hall and then last year Notre Dame, and boy, his versatility really has been on display. He's Oklahoma's leading assist maker in the last month. He's averaging almost 4 assists per game over that span of time.
Well, and he gives Porter Moser something that he can do that's unique. I mean, he can initiate an offense. He can certainly lead a break. And I think that he is a big part of why Oklahoma handles the ball and takes care of it so well.
This is James stepping into another J. It's his 3rd field goal.
Yeah, nice job right there. What James does, not very big. They list him 6'1", which might not be accurate, but he's got great elevation, and he pulls up on a dime on that mid-range. That was really smooth, that last possession.
He averaged 14 points a game at Meridian Community College last year. So to average 20 now here at the Division I level has been a big jump up for him, but hasn't been a problem so far. James picks up his first foul. Xavier Brown back in for the Sooners, who replace Walkwo. Midway through this first half, and it's a tie ball game at 14. Delta Devils have shot 6 of 10 from the field so far, as you said. Pretty comfortable offensively. Here's Davis banging his way back to the free throw line. This foul will be on Lamont Sams.
I like what Porter Moser has continued to do with Davis. You have to remember, with the transfer portal, these coaches are continue to have basically a whole new roster. And so, you know, you have the summer, but you've had no game time together. And so it's almost like, to me, it's become where November and December is basically on-the-job training at a high level, right?
That's a good way to put it.
And you're still trying to figure out how your guys fit together. I mean, every player out there for Oklahoma right now on the floor have never played together until this season. And so what's happened with Davis is Porter Moser, we talked about him using him out front and in situations where he can create off the pass, but they'll move him all over the floor and use his versatility. You're seeing that here early tonight as well.
Kind of that point forward role that we have seen him in a lot recently.
A lot of mobility out of him, and not just offensively with Davis, but defensively. He can virtually guard any spot on the floor in stretches, 1 through 5.
Shot clock's down to 10 for the Delta Devils. Lamont Sams. Oklahoma ratcheting up the defensive pressure on this trip. See if James can get one away. Reed does not reach in, and he banks home a 3. Michael James got it cooking so far tonight, but the Sooners answer. That was a 2 by Kowal Atak. His foot was across the line.
Yeah, terrific play by James, because it was really well guarded. Nice job of him throwing it up and trying to make something happen. But if Atak right there, he's going to run to the corner on makes and misses for Oklahoma and get flat along the baseline and try to spot up.
Patrick Punch cashes in a 3. Delta Devils are 3 of 5 from downtown. Not necessarily a great three-point shooting team. No. Sub 30% coming in, but it doesn't look like it so far.
And they typically, Chad, don't take a ton of them. They only make a little over 5 per game. So they're off to a great start. You better get there.
Yep. Kowal Atak starting to feel it a little bit. And he is shooting it better here recently. It's Kowal Atak. 18 made threes on the year, and he's shooting at a 40% clip.
Yeah, and they will come in a hurry. I mean, you have to be there on the catch with him. Delta Devils have been slow to find him in transition.
Punch launches again and splashes home another. Bringing a lot of punch from the 3 line is Patrick.
And as you've mentioned, has not shot it great from three-point range coming in. Only 7 of 42 on the year. Struggled at West Virginia a week ago. 2 of 11 from the floor.
Patrick Punch, he's delivered a right cross and a haymaker. 2 made threes. He had made only 7 on the year coming in. Savion Barnett gets a hand on that. Another one of those JUCO transfers. Here's Nigel Pack. 1 field goal for him so far tonight, leading scorer for the Sooners. 1 dribble 3 by Atak, and that one is true.
I told you, they come in a hurry. And with his length and quick release, I mean, he can be difficult to get to. Obviously, he has a size advantage, at least height-wise, on his defender here tonight.
Made 4 against St. Francis earlier this year. And he's on his way to one of those kind of nights again. Shot clock is at 5 for the Delta Devils. Sams dumps it in. The big man Chance Sutton going to work for 2.
Well, they are really being efficient offensively. Delta Devils moving it well, taking care of it, and hanging with Oklahoma.
10 points in the paint so far. Mississippi Valley State. Atak. We're going to hop on him this time. And Pack turns it over, trying to force it into Davis. James, the counterattack. Another three by Patrick Punch. Here comes Nigel Pack. Found a little bit of space to get that one away. Had a defender on his hip, another guy in front of him. And Pack got a piece of that one. It will stay right here. It went out of bounds off of Michael James.
With Chad, Mississippi Valley State makes a little over 5 3-point shots a game. But tonight, already 4 of 7. Patrick Punch feeling it. But Attack on fire. Continues to shoot it great. 3 for 3 himself.
13 points already and a perfect night for Kawal Attack. All 5 of his field goals have gone down tonight, including 3 threes, Brendan.
Well, he doesn't need to get loose. I mean, if it's the first possession and he's coming off the bench into the game. And
after review, the call on the floor at 9:28 for a 2-point basket by Oklahoma number 22 is confirmed.
There you go.
Yeah, that's Owen Short there. He was doing your highlight package for you.
Yeah, Owen came over to tell us a second ago that to confirm that they saw it as a 2. I told him, I said, you didn't need to go over there and look at the monitor. You had it right.
Yeah, you guys had that all the way.
And somebody else who has it right is Attack. Mentioned 5 of 5 tonight, and he could just score in flurries. You look at the Arizona State game, Chad. He played 9 minutes, made 4 threes.
That guy makes threes better than just about anybody in the country. It's Nigel Pack's first made 3 of the night, but it is number 359 in his career. That's second active in the country.
And it's so amazing, not only how well he shoots it, but at his size, and everybody in the building knows that he can shoot a 3, but yet he's still able to get him off. He has a quick release. He understands spacing. Just such a terrific feel for getting his open looks from 3.
Nigel Pack, an Oklahoma Sooner after going to the Final Four with Miami a couple of years ago. Kawal Attack, heat check, still sizzling.
And much better defended by the Delta Devils. Holmes is right there, but the problem with the top is he is 6'9". Holmes is 6'2". So the vision and the release is very high over that smaller defender.
Yeah, Kawal Attack had a redshirt year last year here in Norman. He actually grew 2 or 3 inches. He gained 20 pounds. And that release is high and it is pure. That was pretty good right there too from DeKeldrick Holmes. That stops an 8-0 Sooner run. And Holmes reached around from behind Pack there. Poked that out of bounds.
Now watch this right now. Holmes gets here. Watch. Boom. Contests. A little too much space. But again, that length and that high release from Attack was beneficial right there. You have to be there on the catch, though, Chad. And like right up on the number 22. Make him put it on the floor. Again, he's gotten stronger and put on some weight, but he's still not what he needs to be long term. Force him to put it on the ground.
Batted out of bounds off the miss there by Mo McGee. The top got a piece of it, so it heads the other way with the Delta Devils. Sooners have made their last 6 from the field. The Delta Devils have made 8 of their last 10 from the field. I thought you're supposed to have holiday rust after Christmas and the food and the travel. Mom's home cooking, unwrapping the presents, and you got holiday rust. Not the case tonight. And it continues for DeKeldrick Holmes, who has back-to-back buckets.
Well, Delta Devils have done a great job. Obviously, the offense centers around James. He has 8 points, but they have terrific balance here the first half, Chad. 7 different players have scored already.
Xavier Brown steps around the top of that zone defense. Attack. I mean, you can't get it any quicker than that. How about 5 made threes, 7 of 7 from the field?
He'd have 6 if he hadn't had that right toe on the line.
He wears a size of 15 instead of a 12. Probably would have been another 3. Dave Davis back in here for the Sooners. I mean, Brendan, the work is done before the shot's released,
It's
right?
a little bit of a broken play right there. And you see Sutton turn around to find Attack. But you have to extend out on him, and you certainly can't hug up. This is a game perfectly made for a top because you have Delta Devils in zone. He has a size advantage, certainly on defenders coming to him, and he is absolutely ripping the nets.
You know, you asked NBA scouts last year. Of course, a lot of them were around Oklahoma watching Jeremiah Fears, watching Jalen Moore some as well last year. Fears, the number 7 overall pick to New Orleans. And you ask about the talent on this Oklahoma roster, Koala Talk's name came up with some of those guys. They were aware of his size and his flat-out ability to make shots like he's showing tonight. Well, and I'm not saying he's going to go play in the NBA for years, but people have been aware of it. That one's short out of the hands of Michael James. Back to the attack for 2 goes Holmes, and he'll go to the foul line. Delta Devils continue to score and keep pace with the Sooners. It's a 3-point game with under 4 to play in the first half here at the Lloyd Noble Center.
Well, back in Norman, where the three-pointers are coming in a serious wave right now. We've seen it his entire career. There's Nigel Pack for Oklahoma knocking one down, and then a Talk who has been absolutely on fire. 5 of 5. He doesn't even bring that ball down, Chad. I mean, that's like a putback inside the paint. A Talk now 5 of 5 from the three-point range. Oklahoma started 1 of 7, and they're 5 of 5. However, the Delta Devils are within a possession because they have also shot the three-point basket well, and for the most part have really taken care of the basketball with just 4 turnovers against the Sooner defense here in the first half.
Yeah, Mississippi Valley State's opponents had made 74 more threes total. Think about that. They made 74 more threes in 13 games. So we're talking about 5 or 6 more threes their opponents have made than Mississippi Valley State has on average. But it's kept them in this game.
Well, that's a great point. And you look at the game against West Virginia a week ago. West Virginia made 11 more threes than Mississippi Valley State. That's a 33-point advantage. Florida State made 10 more threes. And Kansas State earlier in the season made 15 more threes than the Delta Devils. That's 45-point, cushion, if you will. So they're able to hang with Oklahoma just with their ability to knock down shots and take care of the ball thus far.
Brown had his pocket pick there by DeKeldrick Holmes. Holmes, rise and fire, short. Scramble for it. Pack saves it underneath, and the Sooners head the other way. A Talk off a McGee screen. And rebounded by Zay Barnett. The entire building gasped when that ball didn't go down. They were shocked.
What's wrong with him?
2-point Oklahoma lead with under 3 to go in the first half. Sams rises and missed just about everything there. And here comes Nigel Pack for the Sooners. 19 points in the first half for Kowal Atak to help power this Oklahoma team. Wagee tried to flush it, fouled by Sams, and 2 free throws here for Mo Wagee. By the way, this is a new career high for Kowal Atak. He scored 18 in the St. Francis game. He's got 19 already here in the first half. So here's Mo Wagee. What a key ingredient he's going to be for the Sooners this year. Second season as a Sooner after being at Alabama, where he was on the Final Four team for Nate Oates back in 2024.
Well, he's that classic big that gives you good defense and rebounding. That's where he's going to make his impact. And he's certainly improved offensively. You look at the last 2 games, averaged 13 points, his 8 boards. He's a terrific offensive rebounder. And you're not necessarily, Chad, going to get back to the basket type stuff from him. I mean, you're going to get things like you saw right there. He just kind of hung out in that block, made himself available in the window between 2 defenders. That offensive rebounding as he goes and gets a rest right now is also where he can get those putbacks. So he's improved offensively, giving them a little punch there. but he's a defender and rebounder, and they need him to stay out of foul trouble game in and game out when you get into SEC play. I mean, they're a different team because of Oklahoma's lack of size when he's not out there on the floor.
And he's getting a breather. Kirill Yelitansov back in his first game as a Sooner. We mentioned that came from the Russian top professional league, did Yelitansov, and he's only been in Norman a couple of days. Jadon Jones returns, and Kawal Atak to the bench with 19 first-half points, 5 made threes in 5 tries. And timeout taken here by the Delta Devils before they got a 5-second count. Really don't lose anything. You've got to use it or lose it timeout anyway. And so George Ivory got to be really happy with what his team has been able to do. Of course, they played a brutal schedule, as has typically been the case. Texas A&M, Kansas State, Florida State, West Virginia, the game immediately prior to this. They did get to play 3 games in Hawaii. In early November, they played Hawaii, Utah Tech, and Manhattan as part of the travels for this team.
Well, they played very well tonight. You would have to think, in terms of their first half against this level of competition, this is the best that they've played. We talk about Michael James being so good offensively this year for them. Now, James has those 8 points, and Oklahoma has made him score those 8, Chad, on 7 shots. So I think if you ask Porter Moser, at least on paper, do you like that? Yes. But what's happened is, that hasn't always happened for this team, is they're getting balanced scoring up and down the lineup.
Xavier Brown's shot was blocked, but a foul call coming on Musa Zain. And so Xavier Brown will go to the free throw line, shoot a pair for the Sooners. He has been excellent at the foul line. In fact, Xavier Brown is the top free throw shooter in the SEC this year, 92%. He was the Atlantic 10 Rookie of the Year 2 seasons ago at St. Joseph's. Averaged 22 points a game in the Atlantic 10 tournament a season ago. And we mentioned really the 3-game stretch where his ankle was bothering him. You know, Marquette was on that little stretch of games. He was injured before the Arkansas Pine Bluff game, but played hurt against Nebraska, Oral Roberts, and Alcorn State. And then the Sooners had 7 days off before they played Oklahoma State. And that allowed him to get healthier. It's just gotten better and better since then.
Yeah, no doubt he looks like himself.
He played hurt against Marquette, Wake Forest, and Arizona State.
Arizona State.
Yes.
Yeah, and in that stretch, I mean, this is an example, that 3-game stretch, he averaged 7 points a game. And since he's been healthier, certainly feels a lot better. Starting with the Oklahoma State win, he's averaged 20 points the last 3 games. I mean, he's just, when he is healthy, he is so good out front.
Whistle and a foul that will send Keldrick Holmes to the free throw line.
Well, Helms had a really good first half. Made a lot of tough shots right there. Good job of getting downhill. 8 points here tonight with a chance for more. And you're talking about a guy, Chad, in Holmes, who only averages 5 points coming in.
Coach Ivory said, though, they like his ability to play both guard spots. He can play the point, shooting guard, played at Dallas College Eastfield last season. He's also had stops at Eastfield Community College and Texas Wesleyan. George Ivory really having to reshape the roster. As you said earlier, 6 really of the top 8 guys in the rotation are JUCO transfers. That one splashed through double figures now for the Keldrick Holmes. And a 3-point game once again.
And here comes that Hogan pressure. Really light right there. Maybe chew up a few more seconds so they can sit back in that zone. And with them being able to hang around against Oklahoma, Chad, the Delta Devils can continue to just sit back and slow play this zone defense.
Xavier Brown knocks down the 3. His first made triple of the night.
You know, Brown is only shooting 30% on the year, but I'll go back again to his health. Those last 3 games coming into tonight, Chad, where he's averaged 20 points. He was 8 of 15 from 3. So that 30% is really not indicative of how good he can shoot it from long range.
Darion Reed through the passing lane. Bulldozes for the deuce and a foul. Count the basket for Reed.
Well, here's a versatile player. We haven't talked much about him tonight. That's his first bucket, Chad. But with Oklahoma's improvement here the last couple of weeks, at the center of it has been Reed. He's just continued to get better and better. You know, you have to remind yourself, I mean, he's obviously a tremendous talent. McDonald's All-American, was ranked number 11 coming out of high school in the country by ESPN. He's just a sophomore. And so he is still developing, but he's taking good threes. He's getting himself to the line. He's improved defensively. And he has really been playing well.
And I'll add this, you know, he was on that Elite Eight team at Alabama last year, but he missed 13 games. So this is game number 13 this year. He's essentially now had a full season of college basketball. Under a minute to go, Oklahoma has widened the lead to 9, the largest it's been tonight.
And a chance to get a stop right here and try to go into the halftime with a double-digit lead.
Late shot clock here for the Delta Devils. Off the screen goes Barnett. Sooners made it tough on him. Shot clock didn't reset, and it's going to be a, well, thought it would be a shot clock violation, just an Oklahoma rebound instead. And here's the use it or lose it timeout taken by Porter Moser as he has this one available. You mentioned it. Get a stop. Now you got a chance to go get a score and carry some significant momentum to halftime.
Yeah, we've talked so much about Mississippi Valley State here the first half, exclusively playing zone. And that's the right move for Coach Ivory. They've been able to sit back in there and hang in this game. But how you can get separation, how you can get into some offensive rhythm is by defensive stops. And even, Chad, if you're not turning teams over, you get those stops, you're able to get out and run push, and it gets you into some rhythm. You look over the last about 3.5 minutes, Mississippi Valley State has not scored a field goal. And in fact, they're one of their last 7 from the floor. So that's how you get that separation as you close out a half.
Little 6-0 run for the Sooners in the last minute to create this separation. It was a 3-point game before that. Oklahoma out rebounding Mississippi Valley State. But the Delta Devils have shot it well, 52%, and stayed in it in this opening half. Where do you think Oklahoma's going with this last look?
Well, the first thing you do is, this is on Brown and Pack. Are they going to sit back in this zone? And they may switch to man off a pass. So you have to recognize that first, and you'll have 2 different options against the zone or man.
Shot clock's under 10 now. Pack, just a little bit of space, pulled the trigger and missed it. Reset. Brown tries a 3. And that'll close the half. A couple of decent looks for Oklahoma, and they will take a 9-point lead to the halftime locker room. Non-conference play ends here tonight, as does 2025 for both these squads. Sooners have their largest lead of the night as we head to the halftime locker room at the Lloyd Noble Center.
He really did. He let the game come to him. Scored those 8 points. Obviously, he's at the top of the scattering report. But again, there was great balance. Maybe the best balance, certainly against the level of competition that the Delta Devils are playing tonight. The best balance they've had all season long.
DeKeldrick Holmes, 10 first-half points. The guy averaging 4.5 per game. So he's already provided a significant scoring punch. Porter Moser said, you know, his Sooners were worried about Michael James' ability to score. He's averaging 20 per game. And Porter Moser said he may get 20, but we're going to have to make him take 20 shots to get there. So far, that's about the pace that things are on. There's Porter Moser's team playing very well coming in, pointing toward SEC play, not turning the ball over much. That was the case for the most part in the first half. Each team turned it over 5 times. Mississippi Valley State will have the first touch here to start half number 2.
Yeah, and along those lines, Chad, I'm curious to see Oklahoma here the second half defensively. There's being solid, which they were down the stretch, and then there's putting pressure on the Delta Devils, particularly out front, pressuring their guards. I think Porter Moser probably talked to them at halftime about having more enthusiasm and intensity defensively.
Mo McGee has 2 personal fouls for Oklahoma, 3 apiece for James and Zane for Mississippi Valley State. So bear that in mind here in the early stages of this second half. Reed is off the mark on that three-point try. Really been playing well lately, though. The 5 highest scoring games of his career have come in the last 7 games. Starting to put it together.
Yeah, and in those 7 games, double figures in 6 of them. So there's consistency in his play on that offensive end.
It's a word that Porter Moser mentioned a lot to us today. Consistency, defensive end, ball security, all those things. But that's been a consistent theme with Porter Moser, that word.
Yeah, you see Brown extending more pressure out front. It'll force the Delta Devils to start their offensive higher. Much tougher to score when you're not comfortable.
And later, shot clock's at 5. Hoisting the 3, counted for punch, and a foul as Pack got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. We'll make sure that that was a 3. It was close.
Boy, punch has been terrific tonight. We just mentioned it. Bobbles the ball. Yeah, Pack just got there too close. Let's see the contact. Yeah, anytime you're on the perimeter, that's the elbow right there, no question. And you can see Nigel Pack, he knew it. That was a great chance. That was a terrific defensive possession, and Pack bailed them out.
And it's a 4-point play to start the half for George Ivory and the Delta Devils. Patrick Punch, 9 points, second leading scorer tonight, and a Sooner turnover. This one picked up by Michael James. Mississippi Valley State really methodical on the offensive end, playing a zone defensively, trying to lessen the pace of this game.
And again, the key is to continue to take care of it and then just don't have scoring droughts. And they've really not allowed Oklahoma to have that big run. The big run, or the mini run, was to close out the half, where Oklahoma was able to stretch a 2-point lead out to 9.
Brown will try this 3, and he sticks it from the left wing. Second made 3 for X Brown. He's got 10 points. Oklahoma lead back out to 9, where it was at halftime. We'll see if Mississippi Valley State can keep pace. Important here in the first 4 or 5 minutes of half number 2. Zane trying to back down Wagee, but he's given up about 3 inches of height. Pack steals it and then is fouled by DeKeldrick Holmes.
My very good disciplined defense right there from Wagee. Just staying down, keeping in front. Here's the 3 from Brown, wide open right there. Able to shoot it in rhythm. We talked about Brown. You know, you look at his numbers on paper from distance this season, and it doesn't jump out at you at a little over 30%, but he's much better than that, and he's been terrific from long range here the last 3.5 ball games.
Lobbing it backside for the second time. Davis pounds down a 2-handed dunk off that lob play.
Yeah, that's the second time they've gotten that one. Same play was set up in the first half, coming out of immediate timeout by Porter Moser.
Back the other way, Wagee loved the hustle, the strip and steal for the big man. Hit ahead pass, Reed couldn't complete the play. Caught that in a tough spot. Speeding the other way is James. And a blocking foul underneath is going to send Michael James to the line.
Couple looks at that lob on this backside. There's Davis. Looked like Reed might have got a little bit of a rub. You come up the floor. Again, the athleticism gets punch on that baseline that frees him up. And also in that zone, you saw right there, Pack had the basketball. When you don't have ball pressure and you're comfortable, you can make a good pass. It'd be like a quarterback going back to pass with no pass rush. And so that's why there's an easy connection. You can throw it up to an athlete like Davis from Pack.
I love it when you use football analogies.
Yeah. Because I only have like 2 things I know.
No, it's fine. That's all you need. Get you by.
You know, honestly, it is amazing how the principles in all sports are exactly the same. You can correlate and draw comparisons to all of them.
Yeah.
Which usually are defense and don't turn it over.
It's kind of the same.
Yeah.
Those are kind of a big deal in both sports.
pitching and defense.
It's
right?
like the three-point shot is the passing game, and the dribble penetration is the run game.
Yeah, and you have to have the run game to get to the passing game.
See, you could be a football analyst. Brown, sidestep three. Not this time. And somehow stripped that one away from Holmes, and the reverse is good for Xavier Brown.
Well, that's a great play right there. Terrific hands coming in off the long rebound. And man, how did he get through those defenders? Splits them. Nice little soft finish with that left hand.
Xavier Brown having a night now. Second leading scorer for this Oklahoma team and averaging 20 per game over his last 3. He's got 10 on the night. Back down and over the top for Sutton, but it rims out into the hands of Davis. Pack, extra pass to the corner, and a top is still hot.
Yeah, that's perfect basketball right there. And you have Brown moving it to Pack. Obviously, you have to extend on Pack, the most prolific three-point shooter on the floor right now, and then you throw it into the corner.
Yeah, Porter Moser made no bones about it at the beginning of the year. He said Atak is the best three-point shooter in our program, and it's been on display multiple times.
You know, and he knows his team better than I do. Now tonight, he's certainly shown that. But I would certainly still take Nigel Pack in a horse game.
Okay, that's a horse game, not a three-point shooting game.
It's the same.
Maybe we could set that up. Under 10 to shoot it. Pack behind the back for Davis. Bullying his way in for 2 more and a foul.
Yeah, better offensive possessions here of late from Oklahoma.
Sooners start to put a little distance between the two squads. 15-point advantage potentially with Tay Davis at the line when you come back to Norman.
Knocks it free, finishes. And look, I mean, I don't think it's any surprise. I mean, you and I, early November, and following Oklahoma, felt like Brown was the key of this team. And your lead guard, your point guard play, your backcourt, I mean, it doesn't matter what you have inside. I mean, it didn't matter if you had Stacey King or not. You had to have Ricky Grace and Mookie Blaylock, right? And that has not changed in any era.
You know, you're talking about the Coach Billy Tubbs era, and I am reminded that the first ever meeting between these two programs, Mississippi Valley State and Oklahoma, 1991 at the Cardinal Classic, the Beaumont campus of Lamar University, where Coach Tubbs coached prior to Oklahoma. Oklahoma and Coach Tubbs won that 117-95 down there in Beaumont. 1991. The first meeting between these programs. 14-point advantage. Davis can't complete the three-point play. Hard baseline drive by Sams, but he turned it over right to Xavier Brown. Koala Talk on the way. A little off this time. Look at Davis spring to chase that one down, but he was out of bounds into the front row. Delta Devils will have it. Kirill Ielatansa back in, making his first appearance as a Sooner, giving Owagi a little breather. Mississippi Valley State, they stayed in it by making threes in the first half, Brendan. What right now can keep them within reasonable shouting distance?
Well, they have to have a couple of shots go down. I mean, it's really the same. Take care of the ball. Oklahoma's had a little bit better pressure up front. I mean, you take away the foul by Pack on that good defensive possession, that 4-point play. Oklahoma's been much better, much more focused, at least on the defensive end.
Talk forced to run off the three-point line, but Xavier Brown's got his back.
Yeah, and this is kind of what you've seen over time when Mississippi Valley State has played this season. They not only allow a lot of three-point makes, but teams take a lot of threes against them. A lot of that is due to the zone that they play, and they're really focused on protecting drive first. And there's been enough space now for Oklahoma to get in a little bit of rhythm and knock down those threes.
Rebound there by Elatansov. Comes Brown with the counterattack. Just a little hesitation. Finds Pack. And it'll stay right here. Baseline out of bounds play for the Sooners. Now about 2.5 minutes without any points for Mississippi Valley State. To find a way to find a little offense because Oklahoma certainly has here in half number 2. Walkwo and Jones off the bench for Porter Moser Sooners. You see Pack and Davis will get a breather. George Ivory is going to counter with Holmes and Iragama. Attack went right up off the inbounds. That was too close for him. He's used to being outside the three-point line. How about this, putting the newest Sooner, the 6'11" post player, out in perimeter space to try to guard people. 5 to shoot now. Keldrick Holmes found enough space and knocked that down.
Yeah, right there. Good possession. You know, you asked earlier, a couple possessions ago, Chad, what the Delta Devils needed to do. You know, how they got a lot of those shots early and got in rhythm. They were able to get downhill and get to the paint. Force help situations. Multiple back doors also in that first half.
Xavier Brown's just showing you all facets here in the second half, isn't he?
Yeah, and like all good players, Chad, you watch him, and the game is slow. You know, he plays with pace, hesitation, bursts of speed, and right there he just kind of flowed to the basket, took what the defense gave.
Nice no-look pass inside. The bucket goes down for Michael James, but that was a good feed by Holmes.
Yeah, much better offensive basketball now for George Ivory's team the last 2 possessions. Saw them drive it downhill. Here's a back door. Boy, good cut by James. And that's what makes him a good offensive player. We talked about his ability, obviously, to make shots. He's got some mid-range and get downhill, but he's got excellent balance. He can score in a lot of ways, and right there, showing the ability to play away from the basketball.
So James with 14 tonight and able to knock that one down right near his scoring average on the year, which is 20 per game, leading this Mississippi Valley State squad. Jadon Jones lands that 3.
Yeah, simple, nice, solid play right there. Just active out front. Get that defense to be on their heels. Again, they continue to keep everything in front. There's the answer right there from James.
Yeah, he's starting to heat up, is Michael James. He's got 17 on the night. 11:30 to play. Attack lines up another one. Elatansov back up in his first Sooner field goal.
Well, that's got to feel good right there for Elatansov.
You know, he can provide a little bit of breathing room, a little bit of rest for Wagee. And you think about practice minutes to have another big body to go against. 3-on-1. Pack delivers, and Jones dunks one down. Oklahoma pulling away. Timeout, Mississippi Valley State.
Oklahoma, more separation. Here's a guy that's been here literally 3 days. Elatansov, first basket as Oklahoma Sooner. Good touch right there, and then defense turning to offense. Pack running the ball club right now at the point guard position. Defensively, you know, with them extending that defense and pressuring. We talked about them closing at the half better, extending from 2 to 9 in the final couple minutes of that first half. When you pressure out front, even if you don't turn people over, it allows you to get your run. Now that last possession turned the Delta Devils over, and Coach Ivory had to call a timeout. But again, they're looking to get downhill first. You look at a couple of those plays by Pack. Right now, he's still the lead guard out there. They've had a little bit of movement. He's taken a couple of solid dribbles to the paint. You go back a couple possessions of the 3 from Jaden Jones. It's penetrating kick. They're getting paint touches.
Another quick timeout here. The Sooners up 67-49, trying to close out 2025 on a winning note at the Lloyd Noble Center. AA tournament last year. That includes the reigning national champ Florida, Auburn, also in the Final Four, Elite 8 teams in Alabama, and Sweet 16 teams in Arkansas and Ole Miss, all coming to the Lloyd Noble Center. And Porter Moser said it a couple of times. He's the only coach in the country that has been in the toughest league in the country for 5 straight years. And it's hard to argue with that. 3 years going out in the Big 12, first 2 seasons in the SEC.
Right. And last year, I mean, the SEC was as good a league as you've seen in a long time, which is saying a lot.
14 to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and part of that, and this is not to take anything away from the league, it is the mid-majors with NIL and transfer portal. There are fewer of those that get those at-large bids. But 14 to 16, it kind of reminded you a little bit of the old Big East days.
Darion Reed, the left-handed little jump hook that lands.
And Coach Moser wouldn't like me saying this, but you know, they look at it one game at a time. So we get to look at it in stretches, right? Ole Miss, Chris Beard's team is very good defensively. They are not consistent on the offensive end. That's where their struggles have been. So you have them at home. You have Mississippi State, who's a nice team, but they're definitely bottom half, bottom third, at least what my eyes tell me here on December 20th. And then A&M. A&M has the ability to score, but defensively one of the weaker teams in the league. So what I'm saying is there's really a window for Oklahoma to come out of the gate in a strong way, potentially. Now it's a marathon, and if they don't, it doesn't mean the season is over, but there's a real opportunity to come out of that gate if you're the Sooners in a positive way, in my opinion.
Latest bracketology, which was last week, has Oklahoma as the last team in, and their rivals, Oklahoma State, whom Oklahoma beat up at the Paycom Center a couple of weeks ago, as the first amongst the first 4 out. Oklahoma's RPI right around 50. That's going to get a lot better as you jump into SEC play. But we mentioned the losses, one of them to unbeaten Nebraska, one of them to one-loss Gonzaga, had the loss to Arizona State, which Xavier Brown was a little bit beat up in that game as well, so they played with him. But I think, you know, the thing that Porter Moser was talking with us about the league today is look at some of those teams. Okay, here's a stat for you. Vanderbilt picked 11th. Georgia picked 14th. LSU 15th in the SEC preseason poll. Those 2 teams, now as of Vandy and Georgia winning tonight, those teams are 30-2 combined in non-conference play. Nice backdoor slide, lay in high off the window for James, who is having a night. He's got 14.
Boy, what a great play right there. You essentially have that left side overloaded, and then you bring James high up the floor and force him to go back door. And how about the finish at his size? Let's look at it right here. This is really, really impressive. Boy, he gets Reed turned around right. You see Reed pat his chest, looked over towards Coach Moser, said, my fault. But how about the finish? You know, there was size and rotation coming over from Oklahoma. And again, James only about 6 feet tall, showing the complete offensive game that he has.
Substitutions here both ways as they kind of reset. Reed checked out for Oklahoma. He and Porter Moser had another little word. There's Jadon Jones reaching in to strip that ball away, but it's out of bounds as Brown hustles, but can't quite save it. But you love the effort. Jadon Jones, such a difference maker, and we were talking about this with Coach Moser today, in particular on the defensive end. I mean, he comes in, you immediately feel your defensive energy go up.
Well, they missed the first 4 games with that energy, Chad, and you could tell. And he was a little rusty coming in, but just his length, I mean, he's a terrific wing size type of guy. He understands positioning, and here's the #1 thing about him, and these are fewer and far between today in college basketball.
Here we go. Here we
you
go.
already know. This is the old guy saying he's actually interested in being a good defender.
No, that's true.
And he comes off the bench, ability to shoot it. You have that energy defensively. You certainly have no drop-off defensively, and you may have an upgrade. And so there's a little bit of a trickle-down effect there.
Quick three out of the corner is good, and James is cooking here in the second half.
Well, we talked about James in the open, and when he has played his best, it has literally been against the toughest competition.
Inside, Davis had a little bit of space, but couldn't quite finish it. Delta Devils counterattack. Under 9 to go. Oklahoma led by 9 at halftime. They have stretched the lead out a little bit. It was 20 at 69 to 49. The Devils trying to chip away here. But they will stay patient on the offensive end. Try to slow it down. Late shot clock. 2-point try. Holmes is off the mark. But it bounds right to Chance Sutton. And another chance for Mississippi Valley State. They did not reset the shot clock. And George Ivory's asking that right now. Should it have been? He's talking over there to Tony Chiazza, who's the closest official, but the shot clock didn't reset with it. Now he's going to further question Owen Short here. That made kind of smile. He loves representing his alma mater. Proud to be the head coach at a school where he is in the Hall of Fame as the leading scorer, assist maker. And remember, he was the head coach at UAPB prior to coming back to his alma mater. They won an NCAA tournament game against Winthrop back in 2010. He was head coach at UAPB. Foul on Jadon Jones, I think, on the rebound. Nope, beg your pardon. That's going to be against Sutton of Mississippi Valley State.
Well, I think Coach Ivory, you know, he loves his alma mater. They have not had tremendous men's basketball success historically, and I understand that. He probably felt like he wanted to go back. I mean, obviously he's a good coach. He's had success at places or other places that he's been. Go back and try to get his alma mater turned around.
20 now for Xavier Brown. He's scored 80 in the last 4 games. Xavier Brown headed toward SEC conference play. His first venture in the league with a full head of steam. High off the window and volleyballed out by Wiggy. Dave Davis slides down the lane for 2 more.
Yeah, and Oklahoma starting to get those stops again. They're doing a much better job. Remember the last 3 a couple possessions ago that James hit. Last 2 possessions, you see Davis on him now out front. The last 2 possessions, Jadon Jones has been on James and has not even allowed him a touch.
Punch blocked by Mo Wagee. Punch got it back, and momentum got the better of Mo right there. Couldn't slow the Mo, and bumped into Punch to pick up the foul. Final 7 minutes of this one with the Sooners up 20 when we come back on SEC Network Plus.
Offensive player at any level. You see the first half, Oklahoma would certainly take that. Porter Moser talked about trying to make him a volume shooter. 8 points on those 8 field goal attempts, but look at the efficiency the second half. 5 of 7 from the floor. Been terrific. And he's certainly talented type of player. He's really fun to watch. See all the action they run for him. Oklahoma's got to shore that back up defensively.
He is going to give some teams in the SWAC the blues this year. That's foul on Tate Davis, sending Patrick Punch back to the free throw line. You talk about how you finish games and the consistency playing to the wire, so to speak. That's what's at stake for both of these squads over the final 7, because the outcome's pretty much decided.
Well, and Coach George Ivory, you can see him right there. He continues to clap, and you can tell he feels good about the performance tonight. Now, obviously, it'd be tough for them to come back against Oklahoma. But yeah, you're right. I think it's a great point, Chad. They want to finish, I would say, in a positive manner. What does that mean? You're taking care of the ball. You're continuing to try to defend at a high level. Just be sound and solid. And the same could be said for Oklahoma. Look, you know, you can look at the score right now against Mississippi Valley State and think that Oklahoma should be up more. But that game before the Christmas holiday and the one after is notorious for rust and a little bit of a different mindset. It's tough to get back in rhythm. That's nice right there.
Elatansa with his second Sooner field goal. He's got 4 points on the night. Yeah, those pre-holiday and post-holiday games are notoriously inconsistent, we should say.
That one right before the holiday is the one that always
got the bags packed, thinking about sweet potato pie. Wonkwo and Jadon Jones combined, and Jones gets the block there.
Let's go back to that last Oklahoma possession, Chad. Elatansa right here. Look at him just hang tight, catch. You can tell he has nice hands, and he's comfortable right there. He just lets Wonkwo set it up. He shows patience and finishes. A couple nice buckets inside the paint for him tonight. And look, you can see how he could, and I'm not predicting anything, but you would think that he could give 3-4 minutes a half at the very least once he gets comfortable. Now he's got a lot to learn with sets, etc. It's helped that offensively he's been able to play against the zone of Mississippi Valley State. I think the timing was really good because I think that allowed Porter Moser to get him in more tonight than maybe he would against a different scheme defensively.
Trying to get fully back into game shape. He was just waiting for a few weeks to find out what his next basketball destination was going to be. And it is Norman, Oklahoma. Call that one on Xavier Brown. That's his first of the night. 22 points again for Xavier Brown. He's averaging now just a little over 20 his last 4 after coming back from the ankle injury. Sooners are without Dayton Forsyth. Ankle injuries for him tonight. He's wearing a boot over there. And Kai Rogers is wearing a boot on his right ankle on the bench. But there's Dayton. Another valuable piece. You know, they're playing Ole Miss on Saturday. He scored 25 against the Rebels last year. So we will see if he's able to go when they play Ole Miss in the conference opener.
And I tell you what, it's one thing to have one of your wheels, you know, in a bad shape with both of them, and they've got to get him healthy, and hopefully they can over time. Because really, you look at Oklahoma, Chad, you know, you have 2 primary ball handlers out front, certainly in Brown and in Pack, and then a healthy Forsyth coming off the bench is a valuable asset. So they need to get him healthy as soon as possible.
James trying to find some space. Jones not letting him have any. Sends it away. Xavier Brown, the handoff. Reed. 2 free throws coming his way, and Xavier Brown landed in the front row underneath. Looks like he's okay. Just keeping an eye on him.
Again, we've talked about Jones defensively. Obviously, he has great length, but look at the intelligence. I mean, he stays down. He doesn't bite on any of the head fakes, ball fakes right there. Understands he has the length advantage. Keeps in front. So Jones, you know, has a really good perimeter defensive frame and body, but he's intelligent. He knows how to use it. Really nice, solid defensive play right there.
So here's Reed at the foul line. The thing about Oklahoma, what you feel like will keep them in games is they don't turn the ball over much. 5 in the first half, 2 so far in 15 minutes in the second half as a team.
Yeah, and that's been consistent all season long. And, you know, it's a good thing, but it's especially a good thing because they really don't turn teams over a lot, although that's been better as of late, but the last 5 games.
Closing in on the final 4 minutes. Punch will try another 3.
Wow.
That one is good. Punch has made 4 from downtown tonight.
Well, that certainly can be something that would be encouraging and excite Mississippi Valley State and the coaching staff. Punch only averaged 7 points a game coming into tonight. He's been terrific not just in the first half, but he's scored here in the second half as well.
Oklahoma going to close out non-conference play with their 10th win of the year in a little under 4 minutes at the Lloyd Noble Center.
Neutral site games, quote unquote, that they played away from here when you talk about the Nebraska game, Marquette, etc. But you know, if you look at Oklahoma at season's end, you're going to play in the toughest league potentially, the SEC or Big 12, when it's all said and done in the country, and so there's always opportunities for quad 1 and certainly quad 2 wins, right? But then what separates you in seeding, etc.? It's going to be, you know, how you did in non-conference, and did you really try to go out and play people, or did you try to shy away from it?
Nigel Pack got fouled from behind. He was bumped there by Patrick Punch. So it should be 3 free throws for Nigel Pack. Oklahoma has gotten such a scoring outburst tonight from Kowal Atak. They typically have 4 guys who start, who score in double figures. But given what they've gotten off the bench tonight from Jadon Jones and Kowal Atak, they have not needed big scoring nights from Pack or Reed or even Davis. But don't kid yourself. Those nights are available for Nigel Pack, most certainly. 3rd leading active scorer in the country coming into the night. You were a maker, not a shooter, but a maker. You were a plus 40%, upwards of 45% three-point shooter for your career. What makes Nigel Pack so good? Looks like you said, he's everybody in the gym. He's at the top of the scouting report. Hey, don't let this guy shoot threes, and still he makes it.
Well, I think it's all the things he does prior to the ball getting to him, which essentially is his footwork. It's he's balanced. It's consistent. You know, the work prior to allows him to get the shots off quickly. He doesn't need a whole lot of space, even though he's 5'10". And that's number one. And then he's got great feel. He knows how to read a screen. I mean, he can come off a screen, and based on what the defender's doing, he knows whether he should fade it, whether he should curl it, whatever the case. Look, I've even seen him rub his defender up the defender's own teammate. That's just somebody that knows how to play. So he's got tremendous feel and doesn't need much room.
Mainly for Nigel Pack, healthy this year. Was not a season ago.
And he doesn't take bad ones. He really doesn't. He doesn't force it.
He's not a shot hunter.
No, very seldom.
Here's Pack. Latansoff with a little leaner, but denied. Delta Devils hung close. It was a 3-point game with about 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. Oklahoma built it to 9 at the break, and they've just had a good second half. They've scored 43 points. Very efficient offensively. Uragama fouled here by Pack. 3 on Nigel Pack now.
You know, we've been talking about Atak and the night that he has had. He's been so unbelievably good for Porter Moser. 6 made threes, 6 of 9 on the night. At one point he was 5 of 5, Chad. The challenge with him in league play, and obviously he's an important piece to Oklahoma, is just defensive. And it's not ability or want to. He is still slight in frame. Still got a lot of growth there, and he'll continue to make progress each and every year. I mean, he's still young as a redshirt freshman, but that is the only thing that potentially keeps him off the floor some. You know, guys like Reed and Davis are just more physically ready, but as he learns to cut corners defensively, be in the right spots, etc., that'll allow Coach Moser to have him out there as much as possible. But it's such a physical league, and I think that's why his potential, I mean, as he gets stronger. It's not, Chad, it's more important to get stronger than it is big. That getting stronger comes first, and then added weight comes later. And he'll get there, but he's still pretty slight in frame right now.
He has grown a couple of inches since he arrived in Norman before last season. And Jeff Wonkwo stripped on the way up, but it'll stay right here with 7 to shoot here for the Sooners. Under 2 to go in this one. Todd and Xavier Brown, 22 points apiece for the Sooners. They have 4 players in double figures and have shot 58% tonight after nearly 68% against Stetson in their prior game out 7 days ago.
Yeah, and you look tonight, Chad. I mean, how many bad or marginal shots does Oklahoma take?
Never a bad one when Nigel Pack's taken it. That's his second made 3. Late shot clock, it helps to have a guy who can just pull the trigger and knock him down like Pack. Mississippi Valley State will open SWAC play in Itabena back home against Alabama State coming up on Saturday. And they'll take some hot shooters like Patrick Punch into that shootout. Patrick Punch has made his 5th 3 of the night.
Where's the last possession from Pat? Right here. We're just talking about him. Plenty of space. I mean, in the range, too. And as I went on my probably overly too long explanation of why Nigel Pack shoots it great, I did not mention the range. But notice on that deep shot right there, I mean, none of the mechanics changed. It's so consistent and balanced, whether it's from 22 feet or 27 feet. Doesn't matter.
Reed Lovelace into the game for the Sooners. Jadon Jones in and out there. Koala Talk now has 24 on the night. 91-65. Sooners putting this one away. 26-point advantage. To the bucket for 2 more is Michael James, who's got 24 for the Delta Devils. Koala Talk launching. Yelatantsov scraps for the rebound and a foul. And Yelatantsov's going to go to the foul line. It's been a good debut for him. Going to wind up with 4 rebounds and 5 or 6 points in his Oklahoma debut.
He's played 18 minutes. I think that's a huge stat. Porter Moser didn't know how much he'd be able to play him tonight. He did say to us, I'm throwing him in there. I mean, he's only been here a couple of days.
Yeah, said we'll see how it goes. I think he would give thumbs up on this debut for his new big man.
Yeah, and you know, look, if assuming you're a team that has a good guard group or depth, every coach in America would take an extra big body. Everyone, no matter what your roster looks like. Sooners need big bodies. Mo is really he's the only true 5 on this ball club. And with Rogers being out, that makes that depth at the 4 and 5 even thinner. So Yelatantsov arriving is very important. As you mentioned too, Chad, it's not just, his availability to maybe play a little bit during conference play, each half, whatever it becomes. But how about practice? I think gives Mo McGee a big body to go against in that 5 position.
And he's been playing against grown men overseas.
And you look at him, and he's got a slender build, but he weighs 230, 235. He's got a strong lower body.
Final 24 seconds. Shot clock is off. Reed Lovelace, these 2 teams played in 2023. The only guy on either roster available for this game from 2 games ago. He's the only guy who was available for that game and this game. That's how quickly these rosters change. Oklahoma will once again, for the 3rd straight year, enter conference play with 10 wins. Porter Moser Sooners take a 9-point halftime lead and run away and hide from Mississippi Valley State Final score 93-69. Oklahoma wins it by 24. They will host Ole Miss coming up on Saturday at 2:30 right here at the Lloyd Noble Center. Career high 24 points from Kowal Atak. Xavier Brown continues his good stretch. He had 22 in this game. The Sooners had 4 players in double figures, shot 58% and made 14 threes in stretching it out to win comfortably. Brendan, what did you think of it overall for Oklahoma?
Well, I think it was solid. You know, obviously the separation didn't come until late. Oklahoma continues to move the ball well, took good shots. You see Brown right there.